All right, let's go back to Capitol Hill now, where there is a lot of information unfolding. Joining us now is Republican Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis of New York. She's also a member of the leadership team as assistant whip. Congresswoman, thank you so much for being here, for making time on what I know is such a very busy day. I want to start first with what you said on the House floor yesterday. So let's listen to that clip, and then we'll talk more about it.
I believe our speaker needs to go back to Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer and say, if we're going to pass foreign aid, we must have at least a few common sense border protection measures in there.
Now, it does not appear like that's going to happen. You are an assistant whip in the conference. Are you willing to whip for a bill you don't fully support?
Well, I've already let the speaker know that I am very concerned. Look, we have to see how this actual bill comes down to us and what amendments are going to be there. But for me, it does not make sense for us to be moving forward without anything that actually protects our own national security. I want to support our allies, but we have to also make sure that as threats rise against the United States, I mean, Iran is saying straight out they want to attack Americans on U.S. soil. We're seeing growing threats from Russia and communist China as well. Hundreds of terrorists caught at our border or some in the interior. And we have 2 million gotaways that have entered this country with no interaction to government officials or law enforcement. So we don't know who they are, where they are, or what their intentions are. And quite frankly, as a New York City representative in a post-9/11 world, I get very concerned. If we do not secure our border, what could potentially happen? So that needs to be part of this package. And I think that the speaker should continue to push Senator Schumer and the president to do something, just reverse some of the executive orders that the president put in place that have created what has been a crisis, not just for the country, but for cities like mine, where we have convicted criminals on the streets. We have people who are gang members, over 1,200 at least. People have been arrested that are in these migrant shelters because they've committed crimes. The fentanyl that's killing Americans. We need to take action, and this can't wait either. Our national security is at risk as well. So we want to support our allies. We need to do the right thing for our country.
And I hear what you're saying. The House did pass that bill. The Senate's not taking it up. Republicans killed a bipartisan Senate bill that would have solved some issues. President Biden is considering some executive actions, but the courts have ruled he can't reinstate some of the Trump-era measures. So that kind of is the state of play. It's a stalemate on immigration coming from Capitol Hill. And time is of the essence on these aid packages. So what other choice does Mike Johnson have?
So what I would argue is that the president made 60 executive order policy changes when he came into office. He can use the same discretion to reverse some of those policies. Do you know that Secretary Malliotakis sent a memo to Customs and Border Protection agents telling them that if somebody is a convicted criminal, that alone is not enough to deport him? That's wrong. So even getting an agreement to reverse
I'm sorry to interrupt
some of that.
you. I just want to push the point there, though. But it is all happening. But at this moment in time, the time is of the essence on the funding for these aid bills. And this stuff has not gotten worked out in months.
Yeah, but that is why I'm making the case that, Senator Schumer and the president should be giving a little. They see what's happening to our country. Do they not see the drug cartels profiting billions of dollars by human trafficking and drug trafficking? Do they not see 100,000 Americans dying from fentanyl that's coming over our border? Why will they not work with us?
Well, they did try to pass
they did not, actually.
Well, because the former president told them to kill it. So I'm just saying it was negotiated by James Lankford.
Well, first of all,
and Kirsten Sinema and Chris Murphy. It was a bipartisan piece of legislation.
And we have a bipartisan piece of legislation in the House as well. In fact, some of our border security bills have passed with bipartisan support, and Senator Schumer refuses to take them up. In fact, Senator Schumer did not pass this bipartisan bill that you mentioned in the Senate at all, or else we could have potentially had some real negotiation. But the bottom line here is all I think Americans are asking for, certainly my constituents are asking for, common sense measure. Let's just say, if we even put something in the language that just says, if you are a convicted criminal or a known gang member, you are not to be released into the interior, that would make a big difference. But that's not, even something like that, we have a hard time extracting from the Democrats. I have a hard time believing that the Democrats wouldn't even do that for this country. And
Okay.
again, he has the power to make some changes here, the president. So he should work with us to do that.
Okay, so just if we can set that aside for 1 second, I do want to know
Okay.
there is a threat to Speaker Johnson's speakership. And I know you said just a few minutes ago that you, and I want to make sure I'm getting this right, that you don't support ousting him. You do support changing that rule on the motion to vacate, which Kevin McCarthy negotiated down to just one person. Do you think that where do you think things stand right now? Because this continues to evolve. What are you hearing?
Well, I think there are members that are rallying support for increasing the number to motion to vacate. I would agree with them on that. I do not, as much as I disagree with the Speaker on this issue and how it's been handled, I would say that we do not, as Republicans or the Congress or the country, benefit from another motion to vacate. We can have this fight in January when we return with a new Congress, but we don't gain anything, and it's not in the best interest of governing to spend a couple more weeks wasting time to find someone, because no one's going to have consensus at the end of the day. We know that. But I do think that this shows what a mistake it was to remove Kevin McCarthy. I was those who were very upset when that happened. Again, a couple of Republicans sided with all the Democrats to remove our Speaker, bringing our Congress to a standstill. We lost weeks of work during that time, and quite frankly, we have now a weakened Speaker because of the circumstances in which he entered. So I do not support a motion to vacate.
All right, and just quickly before I let you go, back to the aid bills. Will you be supporting them if they do not have that border security, or will you not vote for them?
Well, look, there's going to be 4 different bills. I'm still going through the initial language, but we have amendments to it, and we got to see at the end of the day what actually comes out. I believe I will support some, and I probably will vote against at least one. We have to see how it comes down the pike, and then I will make my decision at that time once we have a full understanding of what is included in these bills. That's why we're given 3 days to actually read the bills, and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, and that was a big part too of the negotiations to get Kevin McCarthy in, was to extend the time you had to read the bills. Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis, we really do appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.